Team Rocket and Johto were really cool, at least in concept, with how the Heart Gold and Soul Silver adventure introduced 4 brand new characters to serve as the executives preparing for the return of Giovanni. Though I always thought their teams were kind of lame. Even in the remakes, they sort of just copy and pasted the teams, only making sure everyone is a unique character this time around. But now with the release of a new trading card game expansion, Glory of Team Rocket, the trainer's mechanic brings us new Pokemon for these characters. Well, technically every card is just named Team Rocket and their portraits are only there for flavor, but I'm still counting them. Giovanni gets a bunch of Pokemon which are all pretty standard, in the sense that we've seen him use all of these in either the video games with Nidoking, Nidoqueen, and Kangaskhan, and the anime with Persian and Mewtwo. But I'm most interested in the executives. For the second-in-command Archer, he's given a Houndoom just like in the video games. Effectively, this is meant to be his signature Pokemon, sort of. Karen does have the same Pokemon as her strongest later at the Pokemon League, but here in the newest set, what makes Archer stand out a bit more is that he's given a Tyranitar, which honestly would have made him such a threat in the video games, but I'd totally be all for it. If the level progression was done differently, having the evil team with stronger Pokemon by the climax of the game, I could see a reality where this happened, because I like the idea of using the big pseudo-legendary of the region for important battles. Sorta reminds me how Ghetsis had a Hydreigon. But more importantly, it reminds me of how the Iron Masked Marauder used one in the Pokemon Forever movie. On top of that, it could even be a reference to Dark Tyranitar in previous expansions of the TCG. The point is that I think it's a perfect Pokemon for him, also in the sense that it could be a way of him trying to show his loyalty to, or even attempt to imitate Giovanni. Yes, I know it's a rock type and not a ground type, but it is still a powerful Kaiju-inspired Pokemon, the same way as Boss had Nidoking. Now the final card attributed to Archer is Moltres EX, and here is where I should confess that Ariana is given a Zapdos and Petrol has an Articuno. I see this as a way to equalize them with Giovanni using Mewtwo, while also tying them into the Kanto region as a whole. The legendary birds are honestly just thrown anywhere they can be, there isn't that much established lore behind them, so I think it makes sense. It could also be a reference to how Team Rocket had captured them in the Pokemon Adventures manga, so I don't know how much I would count them as being part of their main team, because if the idea was translated into the video games, I think they'd just be locked up in cages that we had to rescue them from. But could you imagine how cool it would be if more of a villainous team members use the legendary Pokemon against a player? Once again, Ghetsis is kinda showing everybody up. Now, formally moving on to Ariana, she has a Murkrow card, which is a Pokemon she had in the video games, technically her signature Pokemon with it being the highest level, even though she was given Arbok in Pokemon Masters, which several grunts have used before. But the point is, a new team member she has now is Ampharos. Once again, probably a reference to Dark Ampharos in older expansions, but I really like the idea, because the other main time we see it in the Johto region is during the Amphi storyline at the Olivine Lighthouse, so there'd be a good dramatic twist with a Rocket executive using one for evil. Next up is Petrol, who I mentioned oversaw one of the legendary birds, but this set doesn't give him that much else other than Wheezing, a Pokemon he already had in the video games. I know it is part of his gimmick with how during his final battle he brings a team of 5 coughing and a wheezing, but I would have liked to see something tie into his arguably cooler gimmick of being a master of disguise. Maybe a sneaky Pokemon that could do the same, as it would help him really blend in and steal another person's identity. And finally, Proton actually has a good improvement. I was always kinda disappointed that he didn't really have a very unique Pokemon before. I guess it's because he partially adapted a grunt from the video games, and now seeing that he has Spidops is kind of interesting. Definitely a good Pokemon for infiltration and sneaking around, but given that he's also known as the cruelest member of Team Rocket, I could see it as being a way for him to tie up hostages. There's also a Mimikyu card with his portrait. While at first I thought this should have been given to Petrol for the disguise connection, I think it would make more sense to have something that could actively change form. Instead, I could see Proton with Mimikyu for being another scary and torturous Pokemon. So that's about all there is when it comes to the new Pokemon for our favorite Team Rocket executives. Though like I said, the grunt portraits also appear on other cards, and all these can fit inside the same deck, since the titles only use Team Rocket and no specific names. And seeing the Pokemon they stuck with the grunts is kinda crazy. Sure, there are usual picks like Arbok, Golbat, Grimer, and Raticate, but the others are really interesting. For one thing, there's a Crobat EX which would evolve from the Golbat, but I've never seen a grunt with a full friendship bat before. The Wobbuffet is really funny, likely being referenced to Jesse and James over in the anime, and once again calling back to Dark Wobbuffet in the past. But the illustration rare is so cool with all of them just chilling in a hangout and Wobbuffet acting like one of the crew. On the same note, of all Pokemon, there's also a Chingling, this one definitely being a reference to James's Chimecho in the anime, though there isn't a Chimecho card in the same set. But what makes it so amazing is that this is the first time in like 16 years that this Pokemon has appeared in the trading card game. Sneasel is also here, a reference to the times there have been a Rocket Sneasel in the card game, and one of those was even an adaptation of the movie where Iron Masked Marauder used one as well. Finally, Hypno is just about the last time I'll need to mention Dark Hypno from the past, because yeah, that's why it's here. Orbeetle is another interesting choice, but I'm all for it, because I honestly love this Pokemon and think it's extremely underrated, but I sort of wish it would have been given to either Petrol or Proton, one of the more important characters. If anything, it sort of fits what they're doing with Proton having bug Pokemon, but maybe the strange hypnotic powers would work better for Petrol. The point is that this is one of those newer Pokemon that is strangely perfect for Team Rocket with the space theming. Finally, there's Team Rocket's Porygon Z, which is a great callback to the fact that you could obtain a Porygon in the Kanto region's game corner. There was even a card from the original Rocket expansion depicting one being given out as a prize. But it really makes you think, because we sort of assume that most Pokemon being used by Team Rocket were stolen. So how the heck did they steal a potentially top secret experiment like this? Makes things even scarier, but I can't lie, the game corner is still absolute maximum vibes. So that was about it for now, more of an Easter egg explainer video with the full card list of the upcoming set, but I really love looking into things like this, especially when it sort of enhances the lore of pre-existing characters. So when it comes to the Team Rocket executives, these are more or less what I would headcanon as their complete teams, obviously increasing the levels to make the battles a lot more interesting. Honestly, there's a lot more we could do, but I'm pretty happy with the new art from all these cards. Also, in case it wasn't obvious, there are cards like Team Rocket's Larvitar and Mareep in order to properly evolve over the course of a game, but I didn't mention them for the sake of making sure the video flowed pretty well. I can't wait to start opening even more of the new trainers Pokemon in the upcoming sets, even though I'll have to wait quite a bit until we get the Team Rocket expansion in English, but it's really exciting to have a lot to look forward to. So let me know what you think in the comments below about all the new Pokemon we can associate with the Rocket executives, and which one of the cards discussed today is your favorite. For now, I should get back to making sure I'm ready to battle against Team Rocket yet again. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the great Gators. First name, last name, Yo Saxon, Brian H794, Johnny, Skyprince777, Olivine Branch, Malguy, Draco Hunter, JP, Jackson at Prone, Who Else But Zane, Q-Tesk, AliveR360, Starved Rock 314, Mobile Empire, Boatloads of Dope, Juan Moran, Sebun, King, Wafers, Alex Switch Shiny Hunts, Tyler Hopper, Lockadox, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Cosmo Zero, Cheez-It62, GatorKid509, TF, Mathaclock947, Tajirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, as well as our monthly members podcast, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
All new Dark Pokémon, and over 100 new cards. Pokémon trading card game EX Team Rocket returns, back with a vengeance. Booster Packs will separate.